Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, and today we're doing a little Elf Spaces review and ranking, and I realize that for my normal followers and viewers of this channel, you may have no idea what this is, but I want to tell you, if you do not, I would recommend, if you have a Twitter, checking this out. It is an account. He goes by the name of Elf, and he is a big-time arbitrage EV bettor, and he's hosted these sort of town hall meetings for gambling Twitter, and just kind of lets people call other people out. And he's providing a platform for both the little guy and the big guy across gambling Twitter. He's only had this show for less than a week, and he's already seen big names like Jack from Barstool, Spanky, Lauren Cowling, Book It with Trent, Wagner, you name it. If they are prominent on the Twitter space, they are in there. I've spoken a few times, but I mostly just like to sit back, watch, and make judgments from my couch. And so today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to rank some of the personalities based on my experience with them inside the spaces. Before we do that, I'll tell you a little bit about myself, because it seems like the most common phrase repeated in these spaces is, "Who's this jerk-off? What's this jerk-off's P&L? Who's this guy talking to me?" I don't know why, but it's just a bunch of East Coast guys, and I'm a Midwest guy. I'm very much excuse me, sorry. I don't like confrontation. I don't like beef. I am not out to attack or accuse anyone. All I'm going off of is what I witness in these spaces. After college, I taught high school for 6 years. I ended up resigning, and I sports bet and make content full time. I am a bottom feeder. I am a piranha. I play promos and I arbitrage bet. I've got a little bit of EV. I've got a little bit of a degenerate. I got a little bit of top down. I got a little bit of bottom up. I'm kind of a mixed bag, and I like to think I understand a lot of the perspectives that enter the chat. Enough about me. Let's rank some individuals. By no means is this an exhaustive list of people who appeared on the spaces, but as of last night, these are the people who have been most prominent, at least in conversations, disagreements, discussions, and the like. So we'll start with Elf, who is the originator of all this. And I must say that I do have mad respect for what Elf is doing. He kind of started this on a whim, as far as I can tell. Spaces was something that he did prior as he gambled, but this has really grown. And I think there is a lot of brain rot. There is a lot of personal insult. There is a lot of garbage that goes on. But if you can wade your way through the garbage, there are some gems. There are some things to be learned. So I have to give mad respect to the guy who has this thing going. Next up, we have Nadu. And this guy came onto the scene calling out Taylor Matthysse, calling out Spanky, and he, in the weirdest way possible, has my respect. And here is why I'm going to say that. Because Nadu is a pot stirrer. Nadu is a troll. Nadu is a personality. And every show, like the Elf Spaces show, needs somebody to come in and goof a little bit, to not be taken so seriously. And the funniest thing is there's 2,000 people on here, and for some reason they all take Nadu seriously. Guys, Nadu's screwing around. Nadu is trying to get a reaction. You're calling Spanky, one of the biggest names in the industry, a rat on a recorded space. All right. And I know that Nadu has a crime podcast and he gets it. Like, I love that Nadu is not afraid to be himself. And I know that a lot of people do not respect him for taking some cheap shots and for running his mouth, so to speak. But as far as it goes in this industry and for what this space is trying to be, I think Nadu is a necessary piece. And you're not going to get paid. Which also, you guys took seriously that he wanted to get paid? Come on. Next up, we have Spanky, and Spanky was called out by Nadu. And the fact that you got Spanky on your show, Elf, is, I would say, all of Nadu's doing. So that is, again, why I respect Nadu. But, of course, it is very difficult to not respect someone so prominent, well-known, and established in the game of sports betting. So, yeah, I respect not only Spanky as that individual, but I respect him coming on a show in front of an audience, being recorded, and clearing his name and addressing what Nadu had called him out for. JFar is the first real handicapper on this list that we will talk about. A lot of you probably have seen him on Twitter posting big slips, and he actually held a space prior to Elf's. He said he would never do it again. It was exhausting, and I actually got on that show and I talked a little bit about how I view the morality, or I guess the immorality, of the Discord space, and I kind of challenged him and Brett, another guy we'll talk about, to change how things are structured. Now, do I think it'll make a difference? Probably not, but what I must say about JFar, and I was a JFar hater from afar. for a long time because I saw the big slips. I saw the join my Discord, and typically I have my walls up, my guard up. I do think JFar is a profitable bettor. I also think that JFar is doing his best in a very crowded and very scummy space to be as transparent, to be as diligent as possible. And that's just not from his Twitter. When he gets on these spaces, I can tell that when he speaks, he understands the game. He wants other people to understand the game and to really help people learn and grow as sports bettors. And so for a while, I will admit, JFar, I wasn't so sure about him. But from these spaces, I've grown to see that he is a genuine dude. And I do respect JFar. Trent. I love that Trent is coming into these spaces and engaging with the community. He is also slated to fight Bo Wagner. That's going to be a thing. And there's going to be lines on ProfitX for the fight. I mean, just absolutely. This is a simulation. We are living in a simulation, ladies and gentlemen. This is absurd. Trent is going in the loves emojis category. I swear, if I look at the audience of people, there are 2 or 3 people who are hitting emojis every 5 minutes, and then there's just Trent, who is constantly reacting to everything that's being said, usually with a laughing emoji, but I love it. It shows that he's engaged. It gets me laughing from behind my phone. Keep it up, Trent. Next up, we have Taylor Matthysse. She appeared on Elf's show 2 nights ago after Nadu called her out, and I will say that I respect Taylor Matthysse, and it's borderline mad respect because, you know what? I'm going to move her up. And here's why. She had everything stacked against her on the spaces. There were very few people rooting for Taylor Matthysse when she joined that space. Everyone has been preying on her downfall on Twitter for the last few months after the Matthysse coin, after the quote-unquote rug pull or scam. And she faced the allegations. She told the truth as honestly as possible. At one point, she was on the verge of tears because of people attacking her in this space. She stayed in it. She gave background on her history, on her upbringing, on her college career, on her time in the industry. And I think it takes a lot to join a space that is automatically going to be against you, to deliver your story, to own up to where you failed, and to set the record straight. So Taylor Matthysse, keep it up, mad respect. Next up, we have sort of a quad beef going on. And this was not something that existed until last night. We have Jimmy, we have Propfather, we have Rob, and we have Man of the Vig. And there was an interesting case that happened where these 2 guys are upset at another guy who has 16 different alt accounts on Twitter. And according to the record, according to the story, this guy leaked Discord information. So he would join Discords, or he had moles inside of Discords, and then he would get plays inside of paid Discords, and he would leak them on a free Discord. And I'm guessing that these 2 guys were victims of that. It's also alleged that the billionaire bets guy, or whoever, I don't know, he's got the spaces shut down at some point because he says slurs. And I didn't think it was right to give him a platform and actually put his face in here. It's alleged that he ran a fake charity for the hurricane and then maybe took the money or maybe not. I don't know all the details of that. But these 2 guys, Propfather and Jimmy, were very upset about what that guy did, and understandably so. But as these 2 dudes talked, Man of the Vig called them out. And he says, so you guys are constantly scamming with your Discords, but you're mad at a scammer, right? It's a little bit of a pot calling a kettle black. They were not having it. They were upset. They did not, however, stand on business in the way that I would have liked. And then Rob got in, and I respect Rob. Rob is the co-founder of BetStamp. Rob has been in this game a long time. Rob has the following. Rob has the ethos. He has the credibility. And he was even calling these guys out. And he was not calling them out to be disrespectful. Rob was asking them very reasonable questions about the edge that they have, about their full-time jobs, about how they can guarantee certain things for their paying members. And at every turn, Propfather mostly, Jimmy was a little bit more quiet at this point. Propfather mostly was making personal attacks. He was saying, why do I need to prove anything to you jerk-offs? Why do I need to talk to this guy? He doesn't even show his real face. He's got it was just a lot last night, and it's worth the watch if you can pull up the recording. So let's talk about it. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to give Jimmy the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to slide him into this new category called jury's still out. He was not as aggressive. Now, do I think that his association to Propfather is the best thing for his Discord? I'm not sure, because there was a lot of red flags that came out. I'm going to move Propfather into lost respect. And here's the thing. I don't know him. I don't know the first thing about the business he runs, so I'm not here to speak on any of that, but I am here to speak on what I witnessed last night. And it was the fact that Man of the Vig asked him very simple questions. Rob asked him very simple questions, and he could never answer those questions. All he could do was turn around and make personal attacks. All he could do is deflect and deny. All he could do was gaslight these two individuals who I actually have mad respect for. So I'm going to slide up Man of the Vig and Rob into the mad respect category, because they did nothing wrong in the spaces last night. All they did was ask Prop Father and Jimmy simple questions that they could not answer. Next up, we have another beef between Brett and Man of the Library. I got caught up on this beef by Brett. Brett believes that Man of the Library has lost his mind. He believes that he has disorders, if you want me to be honest. Like, there are some allegations out there. Brett also runs a Discord. Brett has proven that he can take Hard Rock for all their money, which, guys, we know taking Hard Rock for all their money is not the most impressive feat. However, it is impressive that he was able to squeeze 90K out of them. The thing I will say about this is the first time I hopped in one of these spaces and Brett and Man of the Library were going at it, Brett was being very much aggressive at the personal level. And I didn't love that. This was my first impression of Brett. He was coming for Man of the Library in a very derogatory, very personal way. And I get, he explained later that it is a long-standing beef. It is a big ordeal. And the more I get to know Man of the Library, the more I likely understand why he reacted that way. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I still think we need to respect each other in these spaces. And like I told him, these fake personalities will dig their own grave, right? You saw it last night with Prop Father. When asked the tough questions, Prop Father could not answer them. Prop Father deflected. Prop Father made fun of other people. If you cannot answer simple, valid questions about your operation, you dig your own grave. So for a while, I think the jury was still out on Brett. I was unsure because I did not understand the type of guy he was. I knew he ran a Discord, and on principle, I'm not a fan of those. But Brett has grown on me, so I am going to move him up to respect. Man of the Library. All right, I am going to take a deep breath here, and I know that this is going to be met with criticism, but I'm going to try to explain my piece. I am going to put Man of the Library in respect, but in a weird way.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And here's why. I think he is Jeff Nadu 2.0. I think that Man of the Library intentionally says off-the-wall things. I think Man of the Library is intelligent. I think Man of the Library knows exactly what he's doing. I think Man of the Library is having a good time. And my experience with Man of the Library has been limited, so I understand that I may be off base and I may learn things as we go. But I think after listening last night to the whole conversation about him fighting Brett, which is another thing that might happen at Rough and Rowdy, it was apparent to me at least that Man of the Library is just a troll. Man of the Library is goofing around. Man of the Library, like Jeff, is trying to get a reaction out of people. I don't know the first thing about his Discord. I know that he charges $200 a month for picks, which is insane. And I get that a lot of these handicappers are probably mad about that. But purely based on Elf's spaces, I like Man of the Library. I think he's hilarious. And I think the ability he has to remain calm while making everyone else's blood boil is a work of art. Bo Wagner, one of the most famous Twitter personalities. Loved by few, hated by many. And I'm going to make a new category for Bo. Bo finds himself in the conspiracy category. And I don't know, I can't prove this, but I have reason to believe that Bo works for FanDuel. I believe it happened sometime after his DraftKings ban, which I do believe that there is validity in that. The first thing I'll say about Bo is I think he is incredibly intelligent. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. The dude is an attorney, for crying out loud. Unless he's scamming me about that information, and he's not. I believe he's an attorney. He runs a Discord and he posts the biggest slips on the internet, and they are all from FanDuel. There is no one who can get $13,000 on a quarter total line in the entire universe unless they are connected to FanDuel. The only two logical explanations are he is a massive loser, he has a popular Discord, and FanDuel knows his account, so they let him get down to generate attention, to generate marketing, because that will draw other degenerate losers to the platform, which is still fairly likely. or he has an agreement with FanDuel to bet exclusively with them. He will funnel money from paying subs into FanDuel's pockets. And the reason he never addresses any of this is because he's not allowed to. FanDuel's not going to let him come forward and say that he works for them. Again, I could be totally wrong, but just looking at this guy, he's either a massive loser, FanDuel knows his account and lets him get down for the sake of the attention he draws in, or he works for FanDuel. And lastly, we have Chris, or as people call him, Flup. I'm going to put Chris in the respect category. Again, I don't know too much about him. Actually, I'm going to put him in the mad respect category because I can tell that this guy has a brain. He won Circa Survivor. He understands the business. In JFar and Brett's space that was held before Elves, he asked a lot of hard questions. He asked a lot of logical questions about the Discord space. He understands the game, like I said, and I think we need more people like him to start coming forward in these spaces and unrotting our brains, giving us some more tangible, concrete, useful information. Good for you, Chris, for coming forward and doing just that. Thank you guys for coming by. Again, this is all for fun. I love this community. I love the sports betting world, and I simultaneously hate it. I hate it completely. This gives me entertainment during the night. I do feel like I'm learning things. I do feel like I'm connecting with people who are knowledgeable, who understand what they're doing. And so that is the coolest thing about this. I can't promise this is going to be a daily thing because 4 hours deep into the night is insane when I have a kid at home who wakes up at 6 a.m. It's not feasible for me to stay up as late as I did last night. And Elf, if you ever have a Tinder date and you cannot host, let me know. I'm happy to jump in as a replacement and moderate some of these goofballs. We'll see you next time.